What's up, guys? It's episode 370. Welcome back to the show.
Never slow up, no, I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Hey, what's up? It's Jacqueline. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show and happy May. Happy second day of May and happy second day to my unemployment. I got fired. Okay, I got fired, everyone. It happened. I got fired. Are we surprised? Are we even surprised? See, I got fired. We're going to talk about it. Happy May. Cheers to day 2 of my unemployment journey. This is going to be a great episode. We're going to deep dive into how they fired me, my reaction, my tips about like working a corporate job, especially if you're a creative like me who never gave a rat's ass about the company you're working for and just did it because it was a job. And deep down, you secretly just wanted to be a podcast host the whole time. Or yeah. So we're going to dive into my tips on that. The lessons I learned from working a remote corporate job, and a little backstory about my career. I want to get into that because now that I'm unemployed, I kind of want to bring you guys back into how I got here, how I even ended up fired. Because I think that would make an interesting, like, full circle story for you. Because yeah, you might be new here. So to you, I'm a podcast host, but for the last, what has it been? Since 2020, I've been fully remote in the corporate world, working in media relations. So while pursuing my podcast. So, yeah. Hi, if you're new, please hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. I'm on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Breaker, Overcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm here once a week. And don't forget to review the show 5 stars while you're there on the Spotify or Apple Podcast apps. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am now back on video, back on YouTube, full-length podcast episodes. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's the Jacqueline Monroe Show. What else? Follow me on Instagram at Jacqueline Monroe. I don't know. I could literally sit here and plug 10 more things. Oh, let's do the fun one. Patreon.com/tjms. Exclusive content coming soon over there. It's $5 a month. Patreon.com/tjms. I'm going to need it. Dude. Shit's getting real. When you're like, being unemployed is so like, you're kind of like, what now what? You know what I mean? You're like, okay, it's like sink or swim. My back's up against a wall. But like, also I'm going to talk about how I'm even able to like be in this position and not be too stressed out, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's get into it. Also, we're going to be talking about, so we'll do all the like corporate remote job stuff, getting fired, that whole experience yesterday. We're going to talk about a little bit into my career and am I forming correct sentences? Hold on. I'm going to set the scene. I'm drinking oh my God. Okay. I'm drinking a cold brew, a chameleon cold brew. I love this stuff. So yeah. It's deep into the afternoon. I have a airport pickup time. I'm picking up Corey at the airport from his golf trip at 6:30. And so we're squeezing this in. Okay. Oh, we're sorry. The other topic we're going to talk about today is the drizzle trend, or like, I guess, what is it called? Like a trend on TikTok that's happening. That's really funny. It's like how men are flipping the script on women and the whole like sprinkle movement. I'll get into it. I'll explain what drizzle and sprinkle means. Like, it's so like, what the fuck when I say it, but I'll get into it. So yeah, that's the majority of the episode. Obviously, we've got some protests going on at universities, and we've got some heavier stuff happening in the world, like a woman in Brazil wheeling her dead uncle into a bank. That's a crazy story that I was reading about this week. Also, like, California is trying to pass a bill to ban clear in the airport, which is stupid. I could talk about that, some AI stuff, but yeah, let's just I mean, I'm going to stay off the news and kind of just treat you to me getting fired and the whole story of this job and getting fired, and like my tips for how to navigate this situation, because I know I'm not alone in this. I know I'm not alone in, being a corporate, fully remote corporate baddie in podcasting. Mogul, what am I saying? What I want to relate to, or what I want to hit home for you guys, is because I know a lot of us out there have a job that we have to work, but we also have this thing on the side that we really want to pursue. And so that's what I want to touch on today. I happen to be someone who wants to pursue a podcast and do this as my full-time career, but you might want to learn how to drive boats, or be an actress, or be a pro golfer, or I don't know what your hobby or your creative outlet thing is that you want to do. But if you're currently employed at a job that you hate, and you're trying to figure out, like, how am I going to get out of this so I can go do my art or do my hobby and make that my living, or make a living off of it. I've been there. I'm currently in the middle of navigating this, kind of on the other side of, like, after you get the job off your back and now you're fully into the passion project and turning that into a full-time job. So anyways, I'm just going to start out by saying this. Like, I am so grateful. I will probably be, as always, very negative. No, I'll probably complain a lot about this job I had, and I'll say all these negative things, and how dumb everything was that they did, and how I was just so over it, and all this like blah, blah, blah negative stuff. But like, in the grand scheme of things, I am so blessed, and I'm so grateful that I even had the opportunity to get a job like this, because it was so like being full, like getting a full-time, fully remote job where no one's breathing down your neck all day, and you can kind of like, I mean, it's a 9 to 5, but you could kind of like schedule your life around the job easily, where if I had to run to the grocery store, I could, and at like 2 p.m. or like take an appointment and like get my hair done. Like I could pretty much like live my life and work at this job at the same time with a ton of flexibility. So I was really grateful for this. Why am I being so nice right now? Like, it was dry as hell. This company was dry as hell. It's like stuck in the 1980s. Like, it's so old. It needs a revamp. But anyways, oh my God, am I hitting a wall? No, I'm not. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to first off, I want to start off by saying, yeah, I'm grateful. I know I'm blessed. I mentioned this on like the last episode when I talked about this job, how I know I'm in a fortunate position to even be flapping my gums about this company and my experience, because if I lose this job, if I get fired, I'll be fine, and a lot of people don't have that. They're not in that situation, and they can't be reckless and unhinged on their social media and say what they want about the company without saying the name, obviously, duh. Because if they lose their job, they won't be able to pay their bills or live. So I'm a risk taker, and I did test the water there, and maybe they fired me because they listened to that episode. I don't know. I don't care, because at the end of the day, I feel like a new woman. Like, literally, I have never pushed my tits up so high. Like, literally, go on YouTube if you like. I am feeling myself as an unemployed podcasting baddie, I guess, because like it's time. It's time. We all knew this day was coming. It's finally here, and we're gonna have some fun. So, little backstory about the job and how I got it and everything. So back in, what was it? 2022, I met Corey. Our anniversary's this month. So I met him in May of 22. I was working at I was a media relations. Oh my God, hold on. This is like such a bad combo. I've got like Liquid Death, a root beer, Zevia, and coffee. Like, sorry. And I just ate like I'm such a chill pick me girl. Just ate 4 beef jerky sticks before I sat down. So I'm not going to delete this episode. Okay. So I was working at a startup PR job as a media relations director. It was such a huge title, and I feel like it was all BS because like I was literally the first employee hired, and I could pretty much just make up my title because like I did some big things at that job. I don't know if I've talked about it, but it was my first media relations experience, and then blah 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 blah. I end up like moving away from that job, and then I found this new job that was the complete opposite. It was super corporate. Super, like the company's been around for 60 years. Every day you go to work, it's like, you know exactly what you're going to do. You have like super rigid and like specific KPIs you have to hit every month and every quarter and every year. And I wanted that because at the time, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I went from the startup world where everything was kind of made up on the fly every week, and you had a lot of pressure on you to like make things happen. And so it was very inconsistent. There were a lot of ideas thrown at the wall every week, and you're just trying to see what worked. And then, you know, it was a lot of like late night texts and calls, and there was never really a stopping and a starting point of the day. It just was kind of this constant thing. So I went from that to structure, 9 to 5, corporate, like KPIs, all that stuff where, you know, there's like an actual like HR department and multiple departments, not just like a team of, I think at the old startup I was at, there was like maybe 12 of us, I think 12 to 15. So really small. So yeah, I wanted to go into something more dry and boring because I was just so burnt out of the riffraff of the startup world and the chaos of it and the demands, and just, it was driving me crazy. And, oh my God, I just remembered, oh my God, when I was dating Corey, like early dating him, I think this was June of 22. I was working on a book launch for someone at the old company I worked at. And I was in my car on the way to a date with Corey. I think we were going golfing. And this is just funny because of the news right now. And I get a text from her on WhatsApp because I was helping her. I don't know if I said that. She was coming out with a book, and she had a book launch, and the doorbell's ringing. Damn it. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, that was an Amazon package delivery, and the dogs were going nuts. So anyways, I was part of her press tour team, and I was helping her get celebrities and big time influencers at her book launch and on her podcast. Anyways, the final straw for me, and something that I was just like, I'm just saying this because it's like in the news. And I was just like, eye roll. Cause it was like, who do you think you are? Like, are you, I could probably make this happen. Like, if I know that anything is possible, and like, it's crazy how, especially now because of podcasting and how people are so accessible now and so willing, like big time celebrities are so like willing to go on podcasts and like participate in the conversations that like influencers are having, if that makes sense. Like they're just jumping on, they're cross-pollinating their audiences like crazy now. So it's like really common. So anyways, the final straw, what I'm saying is a text comes through. I'm like on the way to my date with Corey, and I looked down on my Apple Watch and it was like, I screenshotted it. I took a picture with my phone of my Apple Watch. It's still in it's like still in my camera roll. Cause I just was like, are you fucking kidding me? It was, can you get P. Diddy on my podcast? That was her request. And at the time, I was so burnt out at that time because I was just like, these messages all day long, all night long are like novels for me to read. It was so insane and just so chaotic and not very, I don't know. There's a lot of crazy, like, how do I say this? Like there's some, in this startup world, in the like wannabe celebrity, wannabe A-list, wanna rub elbows with A-list people and get paparazzi taken universe. And that like, there's a world where people like they just want to get in those circles so bad, and they'll do anything, and they just want to be famous and have a lot of followers. And like, all this, like this isn't new, but, there's like levels to the crazy, and I've experienced it. So anyways, I go from that. Let me get back to like, they fired me, right? We got to stay on the topic of getting fired yesterday. So, yeah, but I just thought of that with the whole like P. Diddy request. So I wanted this job, I got this new job after that job, that was a lot more stable, corporate. You get it. So I got fired yesterday. That's a backstory. So I worked there for almost 2 years. It'd be 2 years in August. And literally from day one, I was like, this is dry as hell. Like I'm actually surprised that I lasted as long as I did, because the systems we were using were so old. They called them like legacy systems, because like the software, I don't know, software systems, like our databases and everything looked like what you would see in your kindergarten library on the computer in like 2001. Like I can't even describe it, just like the way it looked, So that was very off-putting and just kind of annoying from the start. And another thing about this job is, again, I was in media relations. So a lot of what I did was I was talking to journalists every day. I was working with big trade publications and news sites to partner with them so we could distribute our press releases on their websites. So our clients who pay us this is the circle. This is how this is how the news wires work. Basically, our clients at my company that I just got fired from yesterday, our big clients would pay us to distribute their press releases on websites, like if it was a bicycle company or a electronic vehicle company or a drone company, whatever. Or just like a big news, whatever. They would pay us to put their drone press releases on a drone news website, or an EV website, or a bicycle website, if that makes sense. So it's like this big machine where these companies need their press releases to be pushed out on the wire, and we're the wire, and we push them out onto the websites. And like, it's this cycle. So I would do a lot of calls with these big websites to get the press releases published on them. And like, they'd take our news feeds. So that's like the whole gist of the job. Anyways, the thing about it do you guys want to know like the getting fired story? Is this like, I'm just trying to give you some context about the job I had. Because now that I'm fired, like, I don't know, I never really made it. This is the thing. I never made my job my identity. Like, I never was like, I'm the PR girl, I'm the media relations girl. I've always been a podcast host. That's what I lead with. That's how I identify. Hi, I'm Jacqueline. My pronouns are podcast host. So I don't know. I just think it's interesting to like, it's just another layer of the story of me. And I do want to set all this up so I can teach you what I learned and give you all the tips, because that's coming. Just give me a sec here. I want to like set all this up and give you all the context about this job. So, anyways, something that was so frustrating from the jump, and I don't know if this is the way it is at your company or if you've ever experienced this before, but we would And this is why I'm like, oh my God, AI, please just take over this company. Like from day one, I'm like, AI could do my job. Like I was just like, why am I here? You know? Especially with like the pitching and the emails and the repetition. Anyways, the thing that stressed me out and annoyed me from the start was doing double work. So because we had these old databases and old systems, we'd have to input data into one thing and then input that same data into another thing. And so so it's just so much copy and pasting, going back and forth between, you know, we use HubSpot and then our old legacy database. And like my brain just died. I feel like it's not the pineal gland, whatever gland of your brain gets solidified when you work a corporate job. I just feel like it's slowly like, I'm like a flower and I'm like finally like blossoming. I'm like coming back to life because almost 2 years of that was like, and I'll talk about it. It was killing me. So yeah, just oh God. And honestly, the only thing that really got me through this job truly was the fact that it was fully remote and that I could just like listen to podcasts or music all day. I honestly just listen to podcasts all day because it was so much bitch work and just like repetitive tasks and like sending the same email to a bunch of different people like over and over and over and over and over again and inputting their information and like rinse, repeat, booking calls and that kind of stuff is like, you kind of have to like pay attention. There's an element of it where you're like, I got to put together this presentation. I have to write this email. I have to sit down and like really, you know, but a lot of it was like data mining and looking for, just like researching stuff and like just copying and pasting. So I was able to just zone out to podcasts most of the day, which literally made me feel otherwise. I could imagine me like, I already don't have a huge social life as it is, but like being fully remote, like working in silence and like fully focusing on my job from 9 to 5 with no entertainment would like, it would never work. That's why I think I lasted as long as I did. Cause I had podcasting or I had podcast. So, anyways, yeah, the job it was just so dry. It was so out of date, dry, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is how they fired me. I told a story about a month ago now of how they had fired in my department. There was in the US, we had a US team, a Europe team, and an Asia team. On my team in the US, we had Tom, Alice, I'm making up names. Tom, Alice, Kaylee. There's 5 of us. Those were made up names. 5 of us, right? And on my immediate team in the US. Anyways, a couple months ago, they had fired our top boss in my department. And then they like hired and fired a new director. And then they fired my boss's boss. And then this new director came in and was basically like, stop what you're doing. We're going to do a bunch of, what's it called? I told this story. I don't want to repeat myself because if you're new here, like this is all fresh, but like I literally deep dove into this whole situation. Is this interesting? Like, are you entertained right now about my corporate job that I no longer have? Or do you want to talk about drizzle, drizzle and sprinkle, sprinkle and how we can't have resentment between the two sexes because it's what makes the world go around, and I'll get into that. So, yeah, so it was like there was a lot of firing, a lot of changing of direction, and you know they took away our KPIs, and I was just like, fuck this! Like everything I was trained on, and they didn't give us a review either, and everything just like went to shit, honestly. And we had to do a competitive analysis project about our department and our numbers and our competitors. And so we did this project. I turned it in. I thought I did a great job. I got great feedback. And then like 2 weeks later, I got a letter. I got a surprise call at like 3:30 p.m., a quick check-in call on my calendar, and it was like the HR lady, the new director who I did the presentation with, who was smiling the whole time, who was like, great job. You know, this is so great. And then my manager. So basically in this letter, at this point, I'm like, I was already kind of checking out because everything was just weird. And I honestly, here's the thing that I'll get into about where I've mentally been for the last couple months is I've had like this clarity about it all, or I've had like the what's it called when like the fog clears and you can see the road, you know, it's like I had this moment where I go, wait a minute. What the fuck am I doing? Right? Like, number one, what the fuck am I doing? I feel like I'm selling myself short. I have this talent. I have this passion. I have this thing with my podcast. I should be doing this. I should not be stressing out about bullshit spreadsheets and like a corporate job. And like, here's the thing. Again, I'm willing to work. I'm not someone who's like, I'm above this and da-da-da. It's not like that. I just think that I'm one of those people, and everyone's different. I feel like I'm one of those people who kind of needs to do this thing. Like it's like what I'm cut out for. And I'm not cut out for this other life where some people will be happy to have my job and they wouldn't do what it did to them, what it does to me mentally and how soul sucking it was, you know, like it's just different. You just got to find what works for you. Right. So, but what I was realizing is like, okay, I'm selling myself short. I shouldn't be doing this. And then I was like, wait a minute, the product sucks. It's old. It's like 20 years out of date. AI should be doing my job. Like, I was like, it's not rewarding to like try hard anymore because nothing I was doing was working to begin with when I first got this job. Like the process of what we did was just we weren't getting a lot of traction from it. And it's because we didn't know our audience and what they really wanted because our product was so out of date and we're just like doing what we always did, you know? So in the last couple of months, I was realizing, I was like, why would I even try to get people on a call? Because like at the end of the day, what we're trying to give them and sell to them like sucks. And I get why they don't want it. I get why they don't respond to my emails. I get why when they go to our website, they're like, what the fuck? Because it's not, you know? So I guess what I'm saying is that if you work for a company, it's helpful mentally to like the product or the service you're offering. It's like helpful if you're into it and you like it and you're for it and you're passionate about it. Because if you're not, you're like, fuck this. Like, why am I here? Like, I don't care. You just don't care. You kind of check out and it's like, ugh. So, and I can say, I know this to be true because when I worked at my first startup, it was all passion. I was so passionate about what we were doing. And I was so like into it where I love talking about it. I love promoting it. I love sharing, you know, the story to other people, to strangers on the street. Like I loved the company and the message and the mission so much. And like that is such a different experience than working for a job and offering a product or a service. And you're like, I'm not even, it sucks. Like you're like, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't take up this offer. Like so anyway, so that's how I've been feeling for the last couple of months. I'm still not at the part where they fired me. Let me just give you a little treat right here. Let's do it. So, like I said, I got that letter of, oh yeah, I was telling you about how about a month ago now, it was the beginning of April, end of March, beginning of April. I got sat down over a surprise meeting and they read a 5-page letter, and I told the story on my last episode or 2 episodes ago. And it was basically like, you know, you have effective immediately, you have to perform or else basically. And it was all due to my presentation and my competitive analysis proposal and how unrealistic I was being, because I literally said stuff like, yeah, I think we should go to the International Journalism Conference as a company or as a team. And did I say it was in Italy? Yeah. And it's in Italy. And they were like, that's unrealistic. Or like, yeah, I was mentioning a lot of top journalists we should work with and like help I was saying all this like top level, like big idea stuff. And that's what I was told to do. And they're like, actually that's unrealistic and you're on thin ice. So, got that letter and now I'm just like, and then I got like new KPIs. Anyways, basically I have been so mentally checked out. And then I got all these new tasks poured on me, like new responsibilities, and they're having me do like IT tickets and stuff. And I've like never been trained on like how to even do that or what software to use or even like where to even access it. And so it was all dumb. Anyways, I get, should I tell you the truth? Oh, fuck. I'm already fired. Does this not, shit. I can't say. Basically, I think, wait, I'm already fired. There's nothing wrong with what I'm about to say because I can be honest. Yeah, that's what I do here. This is fine. I was basically playing last man standing. I basically made them fire me, if that makes sense. I just kept it moving, even though I was mentally like, you know, I was checked out because I'm like, I have no team. They fired my manager of 30 years. Oh my God. So my manager who worked for the company for 30 years and she got the can. My coworker quit. So now it's just down to me and one other person. That was the whole thing. And now I don't have a manager to report to who I've been reporting to this whole time. And the new director is kind of like out of touch, doesn't really understand what our team does. I don't know. She's like trying to change everything and give me new responsibilities that I haven't even been trained on or know how to do. And then, so it's just all like bullshit and like annoying. And then, yeah, I just basically play last man standing and I made them fire me. So that's kind of what happened. And I wasn't surprised when let me cut to the chase and give you the treat of the episode. I got fired. Let's talk about how I got fired. I got a surprise calendar invite at 3:30 p.m. on, was it Monday? What's today? Or Tuesday? Yeah, it was on Tuesday. I got a surprise email invite for 9:30 a.m. check-in call with my director. Didn't have the HR lady on the invite. But I kind of knew at that point, I'm like, this is not typical of her to have a 9:30 a.m. meeting with me. Also, we had one scheduled that same day for 12:30. So I was like, why does she want to meet at 9:30 and also at 12:30? Like, what's happening? So then I saw in the morning, the HR lady was attached to this invite. And then I knew. And I was like, guys, I was so excited to get fired. I was so excited. I have no shame. I literally have no shame. I just feel like it was meant to be and it didn't work out. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. I wish them all the best. And, you know, but I literally was like, I just want to get this fucking over with because it's been, and I feel so privileged and grateful and all these and blessed to even be saying this. But like, I will talk about the dark mental stuff that I've been going throughout this process of trying to pursue my podcast and then also having this job. And again, I know a lot of people are in this situation and that's why I'm like, I don't want to waste your time. I really want to get to the value part where I'm going to tell you like the top things I learned and the tips that I would, the tips, if you're in my position, like what to do to survive this and get through it. If you can't quit your job, like what you should do if you're not in my situation where you can, you know, get fired or quit. So I get on the call at 9:30. First time I didn't like blur my background. I don't know why. I was just like, I'll show my bookshelf in the back. Like, I don't even know why. I was like, I'm going to just like be more raw and real right now. I'm not going to blur anything. I get on the call. Immediately it's like reading of a letter. My director is sitting there and the HR lady sitting there. On this date, you were put on a performance improvement plan and this is how you performed. You didn't perform. And on this date, we asked you to do da-da-da and you made no progress. And so da-da-da, and we have determined that we are going to terminate your position as of today, May 1st, 2024. Just a complete, like, you know, yeah, they just basically like read off, and they were all somber and I'm smiling like ear to ear, like, hi guys, good morning. How are you? Like, I'm so like, I know what's happening and I'm just like, let's fucking go. This is insane. I know. But, again, are we surprised? Like, this is just my life story and how it's unfolding. And, this is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me because it's just going to help propel me forward faster because honestly, this has been holding me back this corporate job has just been holding me back, and it's been weighing on me so heavily. And I'll get into that. Like, I want to talk about these spirals and these episodes I've been having behind the scenes, like you don't even know about, with Corey, and just like the crying and the drinking. I feel like I've been drinking more because of this, which is like not me. And so, yeah, they read the letter and then they go, do you need a moment? Like, are you okay? Do you need a moment? I know this is a lot to process. And I was like, no, it's pretty straightforward. And I was like, it's been a pleasure working with you both. Thank you for the opportunity. I truly wish you both the best. And, yeah, that was kind of the end. It was so short and sweet, and I was all positivity. And that was my game plan. I was like, look, if I get fired, I'm not going to push back. I'm not going to put up a fight. I already did that, by the way, when they read that letter, that 5-page letter to me. And I told this on that episode, that the story of how I clap back. That's my tip. If you think you're getting fired and you know that you have at least like you can't time this, but if you want to pop off and blow a cork, don't do it when they fire you. Do it like the meeting before. If that makes, like, I don't know how you can predict that. If you get like a bullshit performance letter sent to you or a meeting, and then they read you a letter or something. Yeah. That's the time to pop off. But like when they fire you, flip the script, just be like, so like pleasant, because there's, at that point, you already know you're getting fired. Like it's not, you don't want to leave like that. So, yeah, they were like, do you need to take any time? I'm like, no, I'm good. And then so the director, she dipped off the call, and the HR lady was just sitting there doing the closing, the spiel about next steps and all the things. And I'm trying to think. So that was it. And then she's like, at this point, you're all logged off of all of your stuff. Just go ahead and shut your laptop down, and we'll email you through your personal email with the remaining steps of what you need to do, sending back equipment and all that. So, oh my God, I was just like, I wanted to do a cartwheel. I felt so great. I was like, thank God. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And it's over. I no longer have this like, I'm so like, again, I don't want to complain, because I'm like, I don't feel like I need to explain to you my situation and how carefree fuck. No matter what, I feel like no matter what I say, I can't win. Like, I'm going to sound entitled. I'm going to sound arrogant. I'm going to sound, so, because I recognize the fucking economy we live in, and how so many people would kill to have the job I just got fired from, and how so many people would kill to be in the position I'm in, where I can just pursue my dream and I have 100% support while I do it. Like, with no stress. I mean, it's my own, honestly, I am my own critic with all that stuff. Like I have a lot of, I'm pouring the pressure on thick right now, as if I don't have any support, and I'm fully having to figure this out on my own. So yeah, that's kind of the situation. I got fired. I've never been fired from a job. If you're wondering, this is the first time I got fired. Like officially, well, I like to say fired, like you're fired, like getting let go or laid off. I just think is so bitch to say it that way. Like just say I got fired, like be straight up about it. Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know if I don't know if I'm a sociopath, but like to feel, I was like happy. They're like, you're fired. And I'm just like, thank you. But if you know me, and obviously if you're a longtime listener, you know that this is like the best thing for me, and that I'm going to just thrive now. And like, so excited, guys. I'm so excited for the future of the show, and just like building my community and really doing this thing. And so, yeah, and something I'm really excited for, like mostly, is the corporate speak and not having to like listen to that ever again. So, without further ado, I want to, let's get into, let me just look at my notes here. I have how corporate kills creativity and 3 things you can do about it. Or I have 5 lessons I learned from working a corporate job and doing my podcast. I think I'll do the corporate killing creativity thing. So I believe that corporate kills creativity, and I have 3 tips on what you can do about it, especially if you're a creative person like myself. So what do I mean by corporate kills creativity, right? In my experience working in the corporate world, spreadsheets, emails, repetitive tasks, data mining, just computer work in general, busy work, sitting on calls that are dry and full of corporate speak. It numbs your brain out eventually, where you're just kind of like, you're not stimulated, you're not interested, you're just kind of, you're super bored by it and like exhausted all the time. Like it makes you so tired. If you're a creative person and that's your life, that's your 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, like you get so exhausted and burnt out if that's your job. So my tip is that if that's the case and you can't get out of it, you can't quit your job, my tip is to schedule in creative time into your week. So whatever that looks like to you. You could do it every day. If you're like a woman who loves makeup or cooking or fashion or whatever, like try a new recipe out every day or once a week. Like try a new makeup look. I know these are like really basic things, but it helps so much because you're going to be exhausted. And if you don't schedule in these creative moments in your day or your week, time's going to go by and you're going to start feeling depressed. You're going to start feeling awful. And it's because you're not being creative. You're not exercising that muscle. You're not doing that anymore because your corporate job is just taking over your life. So in my case, what I did is while I was working a corporate job full time, I podcasted once a week. And that's where I got my creative juices flowing. And that's how I got that creative energy out. And I always say this, without my podcast, I would literally go crazy because I'm just not that kind of girl. Like some people have that left brain muscle, and they have that left brain thing where it doesn't phase them, and they're analytical and they love data and they love spreadsheets and they love emails and structure and I'm not that kind of girl. I'm not that kind of girl. So schedule in creativity is tip number 1. Number 2 is guilt. So if you're in a corporate job and you don't care about the company and because all you really care about is your creative thing, your hobby, the guilt thing is so real because you feel like you're working this job. You really don't care about the company. You really don't care about it. And yet you're basically faking it the whole time and smiling during meetings and nodding your head and acting like you care. And that is very exhausting. And it makes you kind of feel guilt. Like that's what I experience. So my tips for feeling guilt about not caring about the company you work for is to remind yourself that at the end of the day, it's a transactional relationship and all they really owe you is a paycheck. Like these are all the cliches. Like you're replaceable. You're not special. You're not like solving cancer, honestly, if you are solving, like shout out if that's like your job. And those that's a whole different conversation. But for most corporate jobs or a lot of the ones like the traditional corporate jobs out there, you're like a cog in a wheel. You're super replaceable. And just remind yourself that like, so, why would you care if, it's like just a job and they don't they can replace you in a second. Like, also remind yourself that it's just a job to carry you to the next chapter of your life. And that chapter, if you want it to be a creative chapter where you're pursuing your passion of music or bow hunting or nail art or being an influencer, hi, wherever influencers at, like, just remind yourself that nothing lasts forever and that, you know, it's part of your story and it's a job to carry you to the next thing. And this is a bridge and it's not the end of the world. And then especially this is back to the like guilt thing. I'm trying to keep this cohesive. Just remind yourself, especially, oh my God, if it's remote, especially if the job is remote, don't care so much. Like literally remind yourself, like everyone is basically a robot on the screen. Like I know they're all real people and you should give them that like respect that we're talking to real people here across the screen, but it's not like they're giving you hugs every day and you're in the office with them. Like you shouldn't feel that guilty, especially if it's fully remote. I think that's why it was easy for me to break away from my company. It's because like I never really knew any of them personally. It was just all a screen relationship. That's probably why I got fired. This next part is probably why I got fired. So I wrote, just like be kind of stoic about it all. Like don't allow the high demands from your boss or the urgent emails or, you know, the high stress demands like take over your body. Just like let things roll off your back. Like just chill out and just realize like, again, it's just a job. I'm just getting a paycheck. That's all they owe me. That's it. That's the end of nothing is really. And that's the thing about the corporate world. Like everything gets pushed out as if it's super urgent. It needs to be done now or yesterday. And it's like, that's so unrealistic. Like nobody answers their emails like that to begin with. And like, it's all it's a false, urgency in the corporate world it's an illusion. Like, and in my experience at the company I was at, like everything moves. Like, oh my God, the craziest thing happened. My boss was like, yeah, I requested this 10 years ago and they're finally doing it. 10 years. That's how long it took for one of her ideas or requests or something she wanted done to get done. So things move very slow in the corporate world. So, yeah. And then my final tip is that if your corporate job is flexible or if you work remote and you can kind of get your job done in the hours you want and also like live your life, if you know what I mean. I think a lot of us experience that when we work remote. Schedule in your hobby, your passion, your creative thing in your prime hours. So whatever that thing is that you love doing, that you're like stoked on, the creative thing, do that when you're best at doing it. And you'll have the most energy for it. You'll be the happiest when you're doing it. Because from my experience, when I podcast, I'm best on the microphone in the morning after the gym. And unfortunately, when I was working a corporate job, in the morning after the gym, you know, meant I'm on my computer doing my job. And so I couldn't podcast. And what that looked like is I would have to wedge my podcast in the middle of the day randomly or at night or, you know, I honestly didn't give up weekends because I'm engaged and I love my fiance and we love doing things together on the weekends. And honestly, like that was just a sacrifice I wasn't willing to make. So, what happens is when it comes time to do your creative thing and you're not doing it during your prime hours of doing that thing, you're going to feel tired. You're not going to have that creative energy to do it. And you're going to be burnt out, especially if you've been sitting on spreadsheets all day. So those are my 3 tips. So schedule time in for creativity, like make a point to do it, whatever that thing is. Number 2, don't feel so guilty about it. If you don't care about your company, like, just let that let that go and just focus on like all of those guilt feelings, shame feelings, like icky feelings and stressed out, high anxiety feelings about your corporate job. Take all that energy and put it towards loving your passion, your hobby, your creative thing. Like don't allow your body, just be numb to your corporate job. Just be like a stoic about it, because it doesn't, at the end of the day, you're so replaceable. It's just a job. It's just how you get your paycheck so you can pay your bills. Like, don't put so much, energy towards it, especially if you don't love the company and love the job. Love your passion, love your hobby. Focus as much energy into that as possible. And the final tip is to do your creative thing during your prime hours and make sure that's part of the schedule. Don't just like do it when you can. Like, if you know you're best in the mornings, do it in the mornings. If you know you're best at like your art super late at night, do it late at night. Cause that was one of the biggest headaches I had. Is I felt like for the last almost 2 years, I was like, and you heard it on the episodes, I was literally like podcasting at the worst times and just like getting it in at like 4 or 5 p.m. at night. And like, when I'm exhausted from working all day, and it was just not a good rhythm. So those are my top 3 tips. And then now let's go into, I'm giving Liquid Death a second chance, by the way. I had a pretty bad first impressions review last week of this severed lime flavor, but upon further review, I actually like it. So riddle me that. Actually, you know what I decided is that Liquid Death tastes better when it's not super cold. Or if sometimes I don't finish this and I'll put it back in the fridge. So when the carbonation goes away, it tastes like better. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm a fan of Liquid Death. And cool. Where are we at? So we're going to go into the lessons. I got fired. What did I learn? Or no, it's not. Those aren't the lessons I want to teach you. Hold on. How are you doing, by the way? Do we need to do a 7th inning stretch? I feel like, have I checked in? Let's, what should I kind of like go off topic for 2 seconds on? I'm going to Vegas this month. It's my anniversary this month. I need to plan my anniversary with Corey because we wanted to go like on a huge golf trip. I don't think we're going to end up doing that. To like Idaho, we wanted to go to. What else is happening this month? My mom's birthday. I love May. It's a beautiful month. It's so pretty in San Diego. And honestly, oh my God, my number one favorite thing ever. I've been waiting my whole life for this. Like, I swear this is 30. I'm almost 30. Oh my God, this year is literally like, okay, I'm engaged. I'm planning a wedding. I just bought a house. I got fired from my job. I'm turning 30 and did I say I'm getting married? Yeah. Like, so much. My story this year is nuts. Like, I think the craziest thing would be like, I get pregnant. Like, that would be like the final like thing to just round out this year. Maybe I'll get a tattoo. I don't know. I feel like this is my year, right? Like, I'm feeling very happy about 2024 so far. And I'm like really loving this new chapter. And like, yeah, I literally, it's crazy. Like, when Corey and I talk on the phone all the time, like we just genuinely love our life. And we constantly say that. Like, we're constantly just like, we'll be in our backyard, we'll be on our deck, we'll be in the house, we'll be in the car, we'll be anywhere, we'll be on the phone. And we're just like, I just love our life. Like, we were laying out. This is what I want to get to. I've been waiting my whole life to have a deck where I can lay out and tan without any neighbors or any like beach goers or wherever I'm at tanning watching me, because, and like having that privacy is so divine. Like, the weather is beautiful in San Diego again. And I am going to constantly be naturally tan now. Like I lay out, I know like you might have opinions about tanning and like it's bad for your skin and blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm very OCD about my neck and face, my décolleté. Like I don't want this to age. Also my hands, I do wear tanning gloves that cover my hands, but I'm a fan of tanning your skin. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Obviously not burning it. I tan pretty easily. So that is the thing that is making me so happy right now. Like having a really good tan all the time. And it's not a spray tan. It's a natural tan because I have a deck and I have like a lounge chair it's so amazing. And like I've told this story before, I've been living in apartments for my whole 20s. I haven't had my own balcony with sun exposure or like a nice deck or anything. So this is a huge upgrade for me. And it's like my favorite thing about this house right now. Otherwise, you know, in the past I would have to drive to the beach or I'd have to like go to the park. And oh my God, you guys want to hear a really depressing, and I'll get to the 5 lessons I learned from working a corporate job and doing my podcast. Excuse me. Let me take you back to 2020 real quick. Oh, you guys are going to love this. This is like my hero's journey, right? Like where was I in the past? You know, how did I get here? What struggles did I go through? And, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but I was delivering groceries during the first few months of the pandemic through, what was I, an Instacart driver? Now, I mean, this was such a different life. It makes me like emotional to think about it. I was bleach blonde. I don't know. I always associate that with like the worst time of my life, but I literally was like fully blonde, and my roots at that point were like 3 inches grown out because I couldn't find a hairstylist because like everything was shut down and I didn't know anyone who could like come to my house or whatever, and like was one of those situations. So I'm like bleach blonde with like 3-inch grown out brown roots. I'm like 35 pounds heavier than I am now, just door dashing food and just like not giving a fuck, watching so much TV and laying around on my couch. And just like, I think I was trying to start a YouTube channel at that point. I think I was posting vlogs where, hi guys, I talked like this. And I was like so like meek and just like really like not confident and just sad and like kind of like trying to sound like an influencer. I don't know I was like in a totally different place. And yeah, I was doing Instacart. I'm getting to the sad story, because I just talked about tanning. I was so desperate because the beaches were fucking closed. The beaches were closed. I was in my little 1-bedroom apartment at the time with no balcony, nowhere to really lay out and tan. And I was too insecure and too self-conscious to like go to I don't even know if you could do it at the park. There were people were out walking 24/7. Like there was no privacy because all people did at that time was like to get out of their house was like walk. So everything was super busy, like in the park. So I was delivering groceries for DoorDash and I was so desperate. I'm like, it's so nice out. I just want to be tan. I felt fat and pale and blonde with really badly grown out roots. And I was just like, I want to tan. I'm so desperate. And so I was at Gelson's up in Del Mar. I had just dropped off a delivery in Rancho Santa Fe at some fucking $20 million mansion. They were super nice. I think they tipped me like $100. It's like an older couple to answer the door, because a lot of older couples or older people that time were worried about going to the grocery store. So I felt, you know, like I had a purpose at that time. I was like, I'm unemployed. I'm collecting unemployment checks. I'm also like, I don't know if you can do that. Is that a violation of the law? Is also doing Instacart. I don't know. Someone please let me know if I'm going to jail. But, anyways, it gave me like a sense of purpose because I was helping out older people that were scared to leave their homes and go to the grocery stores. And, you know, that was the tone at the time. It was like the worst. That was the height of it when everyone was really paranoid. So I just dropped off a grocery delivery, got a nice fat tip, and drove back to Gelson's. And I drove around the parking lot for a little bit, and I was like, oh, where can I go? Like, where can I go lay out? I'm literally in a parking lot at the grocery store looking for a spot to just like lay on the fucking pavement or like lay. I think I had a lawn chair with me. I think I was going to put out. So anyways, I like drove to the side of the grocery store, kind of towards the back corner. And there's like a McDonald's next to it in the freeway. And this is the closest to homelessness I've ever felt. Like, if that makes sense, like I've never, when you're just kind of like out on the street and you're just kind of sitting and like being there with the pavement and you're like, I'm one with this city right now. And I have nothing and I have no one except my car and Instacart delivery, paychecks and unemployment and a TV at home with really good Netflix shows like Tiger King and like, you know, DoorDash. So I pulled to the side of the parking lot by the grocery store. I don't know if it was like a ran down GameStop there. I don't remember. But I parked my car where there was a flower bed and there's a flower bed and a tree and what do you call it? Like, you know how they have the curb, there was like a curb and I parked my car. So like the only people that could really see me were the people going through the drive-through at McDonald's or the people on the freeway. But I didn't want anyone at the grocery store to see like, oh, this chick's getting out and she's like getting in her bra and her underwear to tan. I literally had a black sports thing. It was like a black sports bra, black thong situation and a lawn chair. I'm in the parking lot. This like makes me want to cry. I was really not well. And I just wanted to lay out and tan. And I got out of the car and I think I climbed over the passenger seat into the back seat and like went out the side door so no one could see me. And I put my lawn chair down and I think I had my AirPods in, probably listening to God knows what at the time. I don't know what podcast I was into then. And I just sat there and I got some sun and I got fried, of course, because I hadn't been laying out in the sun or anything. And so I got completely fried. There's just something about that hot pavement by the freeway in a McDonald's drive-thru being fat and blonde and pale during the pandemic with nothing going on, no friends, no life, no goals to work on, nothing. And I was just like, I want to be tan. I want to be hot. I want to be a hot, tan blonde. And the only reason I went blonde is because this guy I had a crush on at the time was only into blondes, apparently because of all of his exes, and I stalked all of them and they all happened to be blonde and half of my size. And so I think initially the reason this is a truth I've told on this podcast before. It's funny how like I used to tell my secrets like this way more often, but that was why I went blonde, which is so funny to me because like never changed for a man and I changed for a man. So that's the story of, and now the full circle thing is I'm in my beautiful home on my new deck, tanning with a wonderful life and everything has worked out. And I'm just like, you know how I got here. Everyone knows how I got here. If you don't know how I got here, it's because I started my podcast during the pandemic, during 2020. And I talked every single day to myself for 7 days a week for 300 days. And that is literally how I 180'd my mental health and got out of that situation. So one thing I'm working on and something that I think I could help people out with is talking to yourself. I've said this so many times, but like, I think I've got something here. I think there's so much, value to, or so much to be said about when you sit alone with yourself and talk, and like what that does for your relationship with yourself and your mind and just your happiness and your depression, all the things that, it's just amazing. So anyways, let's talk about, let me go into the, these are the 5 lessons I learned from working a corporate job and also pursuing my podcast. So number one is I'm just not that kind of girl. I do not have the ability to flex my left brain and my right brain in the same day. And I'm not good at it. So the thing I learned is that you're just not cut out to be the kind of person who has a 9 to 5 and also can fully pursue a creative passion and like build that out at the same time. For me, it's got to be one or the other. So that's what I learned. Number 2, no matter how much you try to stick to a content schedule, and my content happens to be a podcast, yours could be, fashion, taking fashion pictures and posting them. I'm trying to think, like doing like influencer content, like fitness content, or maybe you're a painter or whatever your thing is. No matter how much you try to stay consistent with a content schedule, when you work a corporate job at the same time, something always comes up to throw that off. And so you're always going to feel like you're falling behind and you can never get anything right. And it's like this vicious cycle of you're like, this week, this is my schedule and I'm going to do this on Monday and this on Tuesday. And this is my content week. I'm doing it. And then you're working your job and you get a ping and now you have a meeting that you have to go to, or a project you just got assigned, or whatever. And it's just like, you can never win. So I was told throughout this process by everyone around me, everyone was trying to, like, because when I would talk about it, like, what should I do? What should I do? They'd all be like, well, just make a plan. Just make a plan, make a schedule, like put it all out on paper and like make it and stick to it. And I tried everything. I would try weekend podcasting, weekend editing, during the week at night podcasts after my job, early mornings before my job podcasting, lunchtime. Like I would try to like figure out where it worked and nothing worked because it was so inconsistent. And like I said, I didn't have the mental bandwidth to do it all. So that is number 2. The third thing I learned is that when you're full-time corporate and you've got this creative passion you want to pursue at the same time, you're going to end up half-assing it because you're going to be burnt out mentally all the time. And it's going to eat you alive and drive you insane because you could give so much more if you didn't have this damn corporate job hanging over you all the time. So that's the third thing I learned. And the fourth thing I learned is that, and this is all in my experience, obviously, I'm not speaking for everyone who works a corporate job and also wants to pursue a creative passion. The fourth thing I learned is that you will consistently feel guilty and unhappy because, for a couple of reasons. I think the guilt comes from the guilt with yourself, knowing that you're selling yourself short, especially if you're talented, especially if like this is what you're meant to do, this creative thing, you're going to feel guilty about that all the time. Like, like I know I should be doing this, but I have this job instead I got to do. And it's this tug of war thing in your mind. And you feel guilty also because, especially if your life's great, in my case, I have nothing to complain about. So I felt a lot of guilt working because it's like I haven't made, I have the job. I also have the ability to create a podcast whenever I want to, and I have the equipment, I have the whole setup. It's like you feel guilty about wanting to cut off the corporate job entirely and not that's the thing. You feel guilty about wanting to just do your creative thing and not work, if that makes sense. And you feel bad, especially, yeah. So there's that. And then I mentioned the fourth thing I learned is that you'll consistently feel unhappy. And in my case, this didn't happen overnight. It started in increments of 3 months, where about every 3 months I would have an episode of breaking down to Corey, crying. I don't want to work. I can't do this. I just want a podcast. All I want to do is podcast. I'm so what do I do? I'm so stressed out. I feel like I don't I'm not doing enough for my show and I want to grow it and I just have no energy or time and I'm stressed out and I'm burnt out. So that happened like every 3 months. And then it turned into like every 2 months. Okay. And we always try to come up with a game plan. And I really respect, it's so hard when you're a person like me who it's like all you want to do is your art. And if Corey we don't have that in common. And so I think it's so hard to like convey that to someone for them to really get it. Cause he's all solutions, right? Like he's like, okay, well, this is the game plan. This is what we're gonna do. And I'd feel great after our talks and my breakdowns. I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I got this. And then I would try and I'd try to make it all work. And then I'd hit the ground and I kept failing and I just wasn't making any progress. And so that turned into 2 months. 2 months turned into 2 weeks of having breakdowns and episodes. And then in the end here, I mean, it was like every other day. I was just, especially towards the end of this job, that's what I just said, that, getting put on the hot seat with people getting fired in my company, all the changes, like that's when I really started going like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like, this isn't gonna work. I don't have it in me to like, and I don't care enough to try to like get through this rocky period at my company and also give it all to my podcast. So I was just miserable, honestly. Behind the scenes, like I've been crying a lot and I have not. And again, it's like you feel guilty about that because you're like, you're so privileged, you're so blessed and you have it all. And like, why could you? But it's real for me. It's real for me because it's like, if that is what makes you feel the happiest, if your art does and everything around you pulls you away from it, you're just like, you feel it sucks. It sucks. And I think I got this from my dad. I don't know if my mom has this I think my dad has this creative side to him. And he kind of had a fuck you energy about corporate America too, a little bit. Like I felt like he had this like stick it to the and no, he had like this. I think he was kind of like me, just burn out of working for someone else and having to deal with the corporate bullshit. And it's not for everyone. And I think that's something you have to realize is don't feel bad about that because life's too short to be miserable and to do something and suck it up because you have nothing to be sad about and nothing to cry about and no. So that was the fourth lesson I learned, is that you're going to constantly feel guilty and unhappy and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse until you crack. And I cracked. And the fifth lesson I learned is that over time, you realize your corporate job is literally drying out your creative juices and like solidifying your brain cells to the point where you're thinking in corporate terms. Like you're thinking in spreadsheets, you're thinking in emails, you're thinking in Slack notification, and that was the worst for me. And that's when I told Corey, and I was talking to my therapist about this. I was like, even my mom said it. She's like, you're just not your good old self. I told Corey, and I think one of the worst breakdowns I had was about a month ago or so. And I just said, I just miss her. Like I miss that side of me that was so jackass and carefree and just funny. And like, I was writing more and my brain was just so fast. It was so quick. That's the thing. I feel like the corporate job killed my quickness with comedy. Like, not to say I'm a comedian, but when I started out this podcast, I was saying the craziest shit. And it was such a great exercise for me to like explore that side of my personality that I was super shy about. And for the longest time, I thought there was something wrong with me and I always felt like an outcast. And then I started podcasting. I'm like, oh, I think I'm kind of funny, So that side of me, I feel like my job was so serious. Everything I was doing was so dry and boring. And I just stopped thinking in colors. It was very like gray and beige and black and white and just bleh. And so that was the fifth lesson I learned. So again, there's a lot of things you can do about it. And if you're like me, I don't know, like discipline is probably the answer. If you can't quit your job, if you can't just do your creative passion. Like you've got to somehow have a come into Jesus moment with yourself and get super disciplined and like schedule that in and make it happen. Like otherwise you're going to work, you're going to come home, you're going to watch your shows, you're going to go to bed and repeat. And you have this dream and this goal that's going to hang over your head. And I am just not willing. I know I have this vision for myself in my life that is so much bigger than me throwing in the towel and saying, it just didn't work out. The podcasting dream just didn't work out. It wasn't, I did that thing for a few years and now just, no. There's no, it's like a, what do you call it? It's not even a question in my head if I'll make it or not, or if I'll be successful at this. Like that is, it already happened. It's already in the future. I'm a future caster like that. Like I see it already. And, that's the thing. If you can adopt that mentality of like whatever your dream is, whatever your passion, your creative passion thing is that you want to pursue, if you can adopt that mentality that you're not going to quit at all costs, like no matter what, keep going, and that's the thing. I have always been, while I've been struggling behind the scenes, working a full-time job and doing a podcast, I haven't quit. And that's something I promised myself. Like I was like, no matter what, all costs, I will get the episode out. Even if I don't promote it, even if it's not on video, even if I don't do a really good script for it or outline. And if I don't come prepared, I'm just going to get it out and I'm going to be consistent at it because that is the one thing that makes me happy. And I owe it to myself to live a happy life and to like pursue my dreams. Like that's the thing. So many people, and it's like, people that just never really did anything with their life. And that's not, honestly, like, I'm not super big on like, you have to find your passion. I always talk about finding your passion and I have like tips on how to do it because it's like, that's something that was super healing for me because it gave me a purpose and something to work towards and it built a ton of confidence. And that obviously I'm talking about my podcast. So, but it's not the end all be all. I definitely think finding your passion makes life miles easier, because it gives you a goalpost. It gives you something you can like work towards every day and get better at, and then find people and a community around it that also love that passion of yours. And it just, it enhances your life. And so, yeah, if you don't, it's not the end all be all. I think it's fine if you live a life where you travel and you have hobbies that you get into here and there and you don't really stick to any of them, and you have your life, no matter what you do, it's going to be dynamic. It's going to be different. It's not like it requires one pursuit and one passion that you need to be committed to forever. Like, cause if I didn't have this, I'd still be living my life. I'd still be, having it. I'd be fine. You know what I mean? It just, it enhances, there's something, not to quote Bert Kreischer, but there's like a sparkle to it, a sparkle about having, or finding your passion or having that in your back pocket all the time. It's like your bestie in the back. Like you can just always like, I don't know. It makes me feel good about myself. I guess then the reason why is because I never felt good about myself. And so now I'm like, oh, I have a podcast. And people are like, oh, what's your podcast? And they're like, holy shit, 400 episodes, almost 400 episodes. I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like I said, I just never stopped and I don't plan on stopping. So, all right, drizzle, drizzle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Let's get into it. So I'm not super well versed on the sprinkle like lady and like her background, but essentially what I've seen on TikTok is that there's a lady, they call her the sprinkle lady, who coaches women on how to like get a man with money and like keep, what is her thing? Like, and to not be like a nagging bitch girlfriend or wife. And like, just, you're like, you make his life so easy. And it's just like, you act like you don't, what is the whole thing? It's like, you're not abrasive and you just kind of like, you're just a little like dainty little, I don't know. Her thing is very, it's just like being everything a man wants and not being a headache. Sprinkle, sprinkle, or whatever. Like, or if a man does this, this is how you act. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And it's like, if he doesn't do this, then you go find another man. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And it's like having high standards and holding your man to that standard. And if he doesn't do it, well, then go get yourself a new man. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Like, she's always, that's her like little phrase or whatever. So the attitude though, if across the zeitgeist and just the dating world in general right now on social media and just, or the conversation around it is that, yeah, women have like, men would say really unrealistic high standards. They expect so much now. They expect men to pay for everything and to dote on them and to be everything, you know, like the provider, the protector. You've got to be 6'5" and have a, you know, a 7-inch. What's the thing? Is 6-inch and a 6-footer? I don't know. You got to have a 10-inch dick and be 6'5" with perfect teeth. Like, so women have the, like when they talk about dating, they're very entitled about it. Like, if he's not like this, then bye. You know, it's like, well, if he doesn't pay for dinner, then bye. If he doesn't get me my bag, bye. If he doesn't do this, bye. It's like the little, like they're so demanding of like the littlest things, and, or they have high expectations around like every little detail about the men they're dating. And if they don't do that, then they'll just get a new man. It's like, bye, you know? So it's like sprinkle, sprinkle. Trying to think with like me and Corey, I'm like, wait, there are no games like that. That's the thing. Like I see this stuff on social media and like these TikTok videos of these guys doing the drizzle videos. And I'm just like, it's all satire. It's all these videos the guys are putting out are all satire. And I don't think some women like don't, like, they're so in their own frame of like what men should be and like how they should act, that they can't see how if a man asks for the same thing back, how they don't get the satire, if that makes sense. I'll play a couple videos, but I'm just thinking in my relationship, like there are no games like this. There were never games like this. There's no like, if he doesn't call me, like, it's just it's the stuff like he tells me a few weeks ago, hey, I'm going, or I want to go to DC for a golf trip with my buddies. I'm like, great, go. I don't fight him. I don't call him every day. I don't like check in, look at his location. There's nothing like that with us. And like, he also mentioned some like big thing in Tahoe he wants to go to. And like, I don't know if I'll be invited because it's like a guy thing. I don't know. He's like some big things happening there. And I'm just so like, I don't know. I'm not, controlling, I guess. That would be like a sprinkle thing. Like, don't be controlling, sprinkle. But I don't know. What am I saying? We just don't play games, and it's so healthy. It's not like that. And, anyways, this is the drizzle thing. Let me just like play you a video to give you an example. It's like men are in their soft guy era. That's the whole gist. Soft guy era. Because women want men to be alphas and protectors and providers. And men are like, no, we're in our soft guy era now. You get the check. Like, you protect me from this scary woman at the grocery store that's eyeing me down in the aisle. Here, I'll play it here.
I go on a date with a female and the bill comes and I look at it and I say, it was so good to see you and everything. She don't pick up the bill. And she said, oh, you're not going to pay for it? I said, what? Drizzle. I'm not going to pay for anything. That's giving me an ick. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you should be paying for the bill. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I got ready. Like, my suit cost like thousands of dollars. I got ready for you. My cologne cost a couple thousand. Like, I got ready and showed up. Like, I don't know what you're on, but I'm in my soft guy era. Drizzle. So I'm just trying to make sure that you understand that what's happening here is that you need to really put out. I don't know really what you have to offer. You could just say you're broke, but you could just say you're broke because I got a maid, I got a chef, I got an assistant. I don't really need a woman So if you're broke, you can just say so, you know. But I had to go ahead and block her. I was not going back home with her. You know, if you're in your soft guy era, continue to be in your soft guy era, because we are not lowering our standards. We will find someone who would do better.
I just love this. Like, so many women are mad about, like, I get it though. Like, I can see their perspective, especially when they say like, it's an ick if you, like the guy saying to the girl, it's an ick if you don't pick up the check and like pay for everything. Cause girls are like, if a guy doesn't do that, I get like the ick. Like, I'm like repulsed. It's like, ugh. Do I have that behavior ingrained in my body? Kind of. Okay. I will get into my thoughts on like who can get away with the drizzle and the sprinkle movement the most, and like who it actually works on, because not everyone can get away with it, if that makes sense. And I'll explain my thoughts in a second. But another thing is like, yeah, at the end there, he's like, oh, I'll just find someone else or whatever. Cause he's got, the thing is men are like, cause they'll show up and they have like their mansions with their cars and their nice stuff and their this and their that. And they're like, why would I need you or whatever? They're like flipping the script on women. Like if you don't want to pay for, I don't know, like this other guy, I don't know. Let me just play this one.
Your boy just entered his soft guy era, drizzle. So I'm showing you fellas what not to do so you could be in your soft guy era too. First things first, no more gifts. None of that cute shit. Remember, we're the catch. One exception for a gift is a camera. Flip the script and make her take 1,000 pictures of you. And don't like a single one. Definitely do not buy flowers. If you happen to already buy some, make sure she building you a garden. Please remember, this is a video with paid actors. That is not me. Here's a tip. Buy yourself flowers and make her feel bad for not buying you any. And don't let a woman call you feminine or sassy. No munyon, you're done. Get her out of here. This is not an era, this is a lifestyle. So take pictures to remember this day that I am now your passenger prince. Drizzle. Every haircut will be paid for. Drizzle. That bill on the table? You got it. Drizzle. And do not, I repeat, do not ask her to be your girlfriend. She has to ask you. Your boy just...
I love it. So yeah, they're like, if you're broke, just admit it. Cause like girls are out here expecting men to just like pay for their whole lives. And they're like, okay, well, they're like, no, we're not. No, I'll just find someone I'll just find me a sugar mama who can pay for me. Cause like drizzle. Cause just, if you're broke, just admit it. Like it's making all these like girls out there that are demanding all this stuff look super broke. And like, they need a guy to like, I don't know. It's like desperate energy, but I just think it's funny. Cause it does sound insane when the guys are saying the same things that girls are saying to guys and they're like flipping that. It's like, but here's my take. This is my thought about it. Cause, there's only like, there's only two types of people this works on. So sprinkle only works if you're a hot girl, and drizzle only works if you're gay. Okay. And here's why. If you're a 10 and you're a hot girl, like you can get away with, you know, are you going to get like, can we go to Barcelona for this summer? Or like, no, what am I saying? Like, can you get me these Louboutins? Or like, can we, you can get away with like a man. What am I saying? There's just a lot more you can get away with because men with money can afford you. They can afford your hotness, if that makes sense. Like you don't have to do much because they want you as a status symbol for themselves. So they'll pay for you. They'll pay for your bags to make you look hotter, for your shoes to make it look hotter, for your outfits to make you look hotter, for your hair extensions, for your nails. They'll keep you hot because they like hot women. Rich men love hot women. And we need that. That is just the truth. And there's nothing. And so they can do this. Hot girls can do the sprinkle all day long and they can get away with it. Okay. If you're a 4 with a toe face, I'm sorry. Like you can't have these high demands, high expectations from men and say, oh, they have to pay for everything. And if they don't do this, then I'll just find a new man, or whatever all this shit is. Because you're just not hot enough to act that way. It's just a fact. Okay. And I said drizzle is only for the gays, because if you're in your soft guy era and you're like, you know, you get the check or whatever, like men being soft, like other men might be like, yeah, I got you, baby. Like, I don't know, like they'll be more receptive to that. But straight alpha dudes doing drizzle, I don't know who they're trying to attract with that. It's not going to work on the demographic of women I'm assuming they want, which is like the hotter 8 to 10 range women. So you can't get away as easily with acting like that if you're a straight dude, because unfortunately so many women have been conditioned in this society to do the whole like sprinkle thing on men. And I mean, there are a lot of women out there with their own bag and they can take care of you. I mean, it's just, I feel like it's not conditioned into women to be a provider and to like be a mogul and like build their empire and so they can provide for their families one day. So they're not incentivized as much as men to like make a shit ton of money and you know, buy private jets and shit. Like, I don't know, like, again, there are a lot of women out there that do have that and they are out there. I'm just saying that I just, from social media, just from what I see, and it's such a small portion of the population, like, and here's the thing. Okay. It's not, you cannot convince me, and this is just in my experience, that men want a mama bear to take care of them and be like their sugar mama and like give them all these, you know, and to pay for everything. Like I'm talking straight alpha. You don't even have to be an alpha dude. Just the men I've been around and the men I've dated, it's like they want to, it's part of their DNA to take care, like provide and to like help and to protect and like build this thing for you and like this life, you know, and it's for them to be in the receiving, like, you got it, honey. You can take care of it. You can That's just not attractive to most women. Like, I would never be attracted to that if a guy was acting like that. It would just, it's not genetically, I'm not attracted. So when men are saying that, it's satire, obviously. Like, they're doing this satirically. And I think a lot of these guys are coming on here and they're taking care of their women and they're, you know, their women are sprinkling all over them. And it's just fine because that shit works. Okay. But I just think it's so funny because these like, there's a lady, I think she's called like Your Favorite Pick Me. I don't know her username, but they're like actually defending the guys and they're like, I don't know. It's kind of scrambling my brain because I'm like, I feel like I've just been conditioned to like be this way my whole life as a woman, just like have these expectations of men. But like, is it societal conditioning? It's a combination of that and like just your DNA or like your just being like your hormones and like, I don't know. I just can't imagine a world where like I'm grinding to the fucking bone with the thing is like I'm very masculine about like this thing, like my pot, like I'm, you know, when Corey goes off to work, I'm going to work, you know, it's like, we're both working, we're both pulling our weight. It's just the vibe is that he's the provider. He takes care of us. Like it's very that kind of yin yang and I'm receiving it and I'm in my feminine energy and all that shit. And it feels right. I think even if you can provide for your man and you can take care of everything, just having that dynamic and just allowing the man, even if he doesn't make as much as you or whatever the situation is, like just having him take the lead like that. I don't know. It's wild. If these men like are actually being this way now, oh my God, like we're fucked. Like the vibes are they're just so off with this drizzle thing. It's like, it's making me uncomfortable, but like, I get it. I get the humor. I get the point. And that's one of the things I learned when I met Corey, not to be a pick me girl and like, I'm just so much better than all of his exes, but, I've just always been gracious and grateful. And I've never been a pain in the ass and demanding and like entitled. And, I don't know. I think when a man meets the right woman though, he'll do anything for her. To be honest, like, I think if you really love someone, if you really like the person, I think that's what I'm experiencing. Like, it's a combination of I'm just a pleasure to be with. I'm just I choose gratitude every day. Whenever he does something nice for me, I'm just so great. I'm appreciative of the little things. And that's what makes him want to give me the big things. Because if you always expect the big things and you're like, where's my Louis Vuitton? Why aren't we in Ibiza with this group right now? And we should be there with him. Why don't I have backstage tickets to this? If you're like nagging and like demanding and wanting and like, ugh, it's just not nice. Like, just don't do that. Just be grateful for anything. And like, and what would you want them to do to you? You know, treat other people like you want to be treated. And that's how I approach my relationship with them. It's like, just yeah. So, the thing is about the sprinkle and, drizzle war happening is that, like, currently broke hot girls and rich men are truly the fabric holding social media together, because these companies that are struggling like really need them. The dynamic of hot girls and rich men coming together, being hot, being rich, doing these aspirational things, posting about on social media, plugging brands, like going on these crazy trips, these beautiful locations to, you know, sharing a product, or I don't know what like all of that is like, that's a fabric that holds social media together. And so we cannot have resentment between men and women. Like, we cannot have sprinkle, drizzle. We can't have rich men doing this. Like, we can't. It's not healthy for, like, it's gonna ruin our economy. It's gonna ruin the creator economy. It's gonna ruin the modeling economy. It's gonna ruin the sugar daddy economy. It's gonna ruin like all of it. We need each other, and we need to have mutual respect for what we want, what men and women both want, and we cannot fight it. So if you're a broke hot chick, just keep sprinkling everywhere on, just keep, if you're broke, just stay hot. And if you're a man, if you're rich and you're a man, keep opening your wallet. Just never stop. Just keep doing it. We need that. That's how the world goes around right now. So it's like the rich guys are shutting their wallets and the hot girls are like, oh, now what? What did I say? The rich guys are shutting their wallet and the hot girls are like, yeah, hot. Did I say rich girls or rich guys, hot girls? It's confusing. What about rich girls, ugly dudes? What dynamic is that? Like, how could I flip this around in my brain and make like a scrambled hot rich people sandwich? Hot, ugly. Oh my God, that was my favorite episode Tim Dillon did. Oh my God, when he did like the hot and dumb. He's like, if I could do it over, I'd want to be hot and dumb. That's like, he said that was like the best combination, just being a hot person who with no brain cells. Because if you're hot and smart, no one listens to you. Like, literally, like, fuck, I swear, like, I'm struggling with this currently. Like, I don't know if I should take you behind the scenes into my personal branding, but it's confusing to be me sometimes, because in a way I feel like my present is, it makes people pay attention. And in another way, I feel like it annoys people and pisses them off. And like, and that's just how I perceive myself in my brain, or like perceive what other people think about me in my brain. And I don't know who cares? At the end of the day, this is my tip, social media content creator tip. Just, you have to actually not give a fuck what people think about you. You have to like embody that and just be like, I'm doing what I'm doing and I like doing it and I'm going to post it and that's the thing. What have I learned as a podcast host with almost 400 episodes in the last 3 years? I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. That's a lesson. You don't have to be for everyone. And I think it's so hard when you're a former, if you're a former people pleaser, that is a hard lesson to learn, because you start out and you're just like, I don't know though. I feel like I started out not giving a fuck more than I feel like I give a fuck more now than I used to, because I have more people watching me now. Should not. I don't know. I think that's it. I had a phone call with my brother. Oh my God. Funniest thing. Oh my God. I love this phone call. It was so great. This was like a fun phone call. So Robert calls me. The reason I brought him up is because he's like, I'm your brother. So he listened. It's so wild. It's so wild. My whole family listens to my podcast religiously. Like I talked to my mom and my sister in the car today, and they're like giving me notes, and they're like about specific things I've talked. They're into the show. And then my brother does too. And he was basically like, can you cut this down to an hour? Like, do you think you could do an hour? And I'm like, probably not, but like, I'll try. I think this episode's going to be like 2 hours, but, anyways, we had the funniest phone call. It's like, he lives on the East Coast in New York, and he goes, he's making music. He makes like EDM, dubstep, house. He's got a SoundCloud. Go check out, and Spotify. God, SoundCloud I don't know. I think whatever. It's Rob Mon, ROBMON. Go check him out. He makes music, and he calls me the other night. It's probably like midnight his time. So what is it, 9? Yeah, 9 my time. And he's like, Jacqueline, I'm so annoyed right now. He's like, what is this song? I can't think of this song. And he just goes, dun 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 dun. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like a rap verse on that. This is like a 90s Space Jammy, Mrs. Doubtfire-y, like Mike song. This is like a basketball warm-up jam. Like, we've heard this our whole lives. Like, we got this. I'm like, let's do this right now. And I'm trying to help him because he's in the middle of making a song and he wants to like layer some of this in and mix it or whatever. And we sat there for like 30 minutes. And I was like, I just need one lyric to Google. I just need one. Because think about it. If you can't like Shazam it. If it's in your head, that's the thing. He's like thinking of the sounds in his head. So he couldn't just like find it. And you have to like find the song. You can't just like, Shazam it and figure out the name of the song. It's like totally the other way around. So we're just like thinking like, what is this lyric? And I'm like, is it like, everybody let's dance? Or is it, come on, let's go. Feel the rhythm of the music. It's like going through it. We were looking at like albums or soundtracks to all these movies. And I think I got closer when I went to, I Googled like basketball warm-up songs, and then I did like 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then I was like looking down the list, and then I was like humming in my head. I was like, dun 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 dun, and I'm like, what is that? Dun, dun, dun? Like, what is she saying? And it's everybody dance now, dun dun dun. All we had to remember was that lyric, and it took us so long, but it was so rewarding when we figured it out. It's called Gonna Make You Sweat. Best song. Like, you probably haven't heard that song in a minute. Like, such a great song. I was full volume bumping it in my headphones. Like, do you ever just, I just love music. Like that was a moment. I don't know if it's because I know my brother loves music, and then I know how like passionate he is about making it and how he has a plan with this song. And then when I heard the song and I'm like, fuck yeah, like it's going to sound so good. And then he sent me his first mix of like a clip of whatever he was making. And I was like, holy shit, this is so good. And it got like dubsteppy and like, it was so sick. And I don't know, like sometimes you hear a song and you're like, this makes life worth living. Okay, cool. So that's the episode. I discussed getting fired. I discussed a little job history for you. My tips on what to do if you're a creative person who happens to be strapped to a dusty, crusty, rusty chair at a corporate job 40 hours a week. I discussed the lessons I learned from trying to do both of a creative passion and a job. And we got into the drizzle, sprinkle, sprinkle movement. Can't have resentment between hot people or between hot girls and rich dudes or just men in just can't have that in general. It's not good for society. And I think that's it. We talked about tanning in a parking lot during the pandemic when I was fat, pale, and blonde. You know, those are the days that really make you fucking grateful for what you have. You know, like, speaking of gratefulness, I've been listening. I go in phases with podcasts. You probably go in a phase with mine all the time. I'm sure you like zip in and out every now and then. I don't know. It's like I have my diehards, and then I have my people where I feel like they have a phase with me, and I can tell by their engagement, and then it like dies, and then they come back, you know? So I've been in a phase recently of rediscovering the Lex Friedman podcast. And why we're going to end on a somber note. We're going to talk about Israel and fucking Palestine. Anyways, he's been, I love his podcast. I think he's one of the best hosts, interviewers out there. Like, he's so great at getting to the right questions and like getting like really interesting insights out of his guests. Like, it's so amazing. Just like whenever he asks a question, I'm like, damn, that was such a good, like, he's just so, I don't know. I think he comes really prepared with what he's going to ask. But, and that's one thing I think, who said it? Probably fucking Elon. I don't know. Like, do you think he's full of shit? Like, you know how people, when you talk about Elon Musk, they're like eye roll or they're like, I love him. It's like people like hate him or just, he's, I guess, polarizing like that. I don't know. I think I heard him say once that like you can tell a lot by a person's intelligence or a lot about a person by the questions they ask. And then when he was talking about like the universe and like the future and like society and like science, I don't know, all the things he talks about, basically he was like, we don't know what questions to even ask because we don't have answers to so many things. We don't even know how to ask a question about the thing because we don't even know what to, like, he made my brain break when he said that. He's like, we're not even intelligent enough. We don't have enough to work with to even know what questions. I don't know. So my brain broke. But anyways, I'm in a phase with the Lex Friedman podcast, and he's been, I listened to the debate on Israel and Palestine that was fucking like 4 hours long. Destiny was on it. And I was like, for the longest time, like listening to the episode, I'm like, I didn't really read who was in it or who was debating. I just like played it. I just saw like Israel, Palestine, Lex Friedman. I'm like, this will be good. Play. Didn't realize it was 4 hours. And I'm like listening to the podcast and like, who's this? What voice is this? I'm like, oh, it's Destiny. And he was defending, or he was like debating, or not defending. What was he doing? He was, sticking up for Israel. And like, there's guys on the other side of the table sticking up for the Palestinians and the other side of the conversation. It was just so good. And like, honestly, I don't know shit about fuck. Like, I don't know. I ended that 4-hour. I almost need to like, I'm tempted to listen to it again. It was so long, but it was so confusing. When you don't know much about the conflict and they're breaking down like history and names and dates and they're debating and they're just so well spoken. And all these guys are super like, they know their shit. They've written books. They're like quoting things and it's like really intense. I ended it like, oh my God, I know nothing. Like it was crazy. And I also listened to, he had this guest on, a comedian. I think he's from Egypt. Forget his name. It starts with like a G, I think. Super great episode. I don't know why I'm ending the episode talking about another podcast episode. But my brother would be like, end it. This is too long. This is too long. Anyways, he's been having, or because I've been looking. The thing is I've been seeking out information about the Israel-Palestine conflict, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to probably read a book right now. Like, I'm probably not going to deep dive into a book, history book. Like, I'm probably not going to, I know myself. So I'm like, where can I go in the podcast world? And I was like looking for Rogan episodes that cover it. I don't know if you know anyone he's had on. I'm like trying to find the one I really like though. I think he had Tim Kennedy on after he had gone over there, which I just love when Tim Kennedy gets on. He's like, yeah, I was just in Afghanistan, or I was just in, Israel, and I just saw this and that. And he's describing I just like that shit. It's from a military man. I think it's like really, I don't know. I like, because here's the thing for me, this whole situation, and this is why I was saying, oh yeah, my life, I was recapping the episode, and then I said, it's crazy how that makes you feel grateful, like where you were a few years ago and now, and where you are, and then realizing where you're at now and how much progress you've made, how much improvement you've made. Then I was thinking about somehow Israel and Palestine. I was saying great gratitude. And then I was thinking that shit doesn't even compare. And this is something that I just cannot wrap my head around. Like this influencer I follow was like, yeah, I'm going on a trip there. I'm going over to Israel or something like in 2 weeks. She was like talking about it. And I'm like, oh, like, yeah, people just like try. I'm like, safety is such an illusion. First of all, like it is, you're not safe anywhere. Like anything could happen at any time. You're so vulnerable. You're just a meat sack. We know this, but like, I don't even know how people are kicking soccer balls around and like doing dance mobs in Israel as like Iranian missiles are being fucking blasted overhead and getting like deflected by the Iron Dome. Like they're just like living life. And I guess that's just like cultural there. And like, they're just like that. It makes me feel like a coward almost. Like I just got on here and complained about like getting fired and like a stupid job. It's like crazy. People are just getting fucking obliterated, murdered. I finally stopped watching the murder porn. And I think it was heaviest for me after October 7th, but I can replay that. I know it. I know what's happening. And I feel like I can't. It's like, what do you do? I'm spiraling at the end of the episode. What's new? Like it's just obviously a crazy time. And everyone says that. And I think it's always been a crazy time. We just have more exposure to it all now. And so we're so overstimulated by the conflicts of the world. I mean, it's crazy. Like they literally dropped a bomb on Hiroshima back in, what was that? What year? 40 something? 48? Is that not even close? And like, if that was today, we would have, I mean, obviously, I don't even know. Like the nuclear war is being heavily discussed, and that is just, I don't like how the tone is like, it's inevitable. It's gonna it's probably gonna happen in your lifetime. Like, someone's gonna press a button. It's just gonna be like over for all of us. No, I'm just saying, like, if something like back then that happened, like you found out about it through, I don't know, like the little black and white TV news channel. I don't know. Did they have that back then? Or like the newspaper? But it wasn't like right here. And then you see like, you know, the destruction and it's like all in your face. Like, you know, what happened across the world, but you can't envision it really. Like you can't see I guess there were videos and I guess, yeah, there was a lot of video footage of that. The aftermath people probably saw. I don't know, but it's not like on demand. It's not like as accessible, or it wasn't as it is now. And so that's why when October 7th happened, it was so like, holy shit, I feel like you're like, I cannot unsee what I saw. I know no one can. And it's just like, it's a crazy time. It's always been a crazy time, but I'm just like and that's what I want to say his name. He said it so well about Lex Friedman podcast. Bassem Youssef. I'm so not saying that right. Bassem Youssef. I'm just saying it how it's spelled. Bassem Youssef. He was saying how like it's almost like not fair. Like killing people used to be so much harder back in the day when you had to like face your enemy face to face with a sword and you had to like cut their body in half to kill them. Like that's how you took out your enemy, is like literal hand-to-hand combat. That's how we started. And then obviously we had the muskets or the guns come out. And then we had the machine gun that changed everything and the world wars. And then it's like now we're all the way to 2024 and it's like you're sitting behind a joystick with a fucking computer screen dropping a drone strike. And it's like you're not even there. You're not even in the proximity. It's almost like it's killing people on steroids. It's like it's so like it's almost like too easy to kill now. It's like too like it's so, and he was breaking that down. I'm like, yeah, it's just almost sick. It's like the war. It should be like this is so fucked up, but like oh God, it's like you can't get rid of guns now though. You can't get rid of drones. There's too much machinery and there's too many bombs out. So you can't undo anything. But like imagine if none of that technology advanced. You know, that war technology advanced. So we were just using swords still, and like that's the only way you could kill people. It's like so many less people would be dead now. It's so fucking sad. That's the thing. It's so sad. Everything is sad, and I'm just spiraling at the end of the episode now because it's like I have a lot to be grateful for, and I just want to remind everyone to like, yeah, count your blessings and yeah. There's just like there's like nothing. It's so yeah, that situation is. Lex asked a question that I was like, it's a good question. He's like, do you think that both sides want to continue, like they're incentivized or they don't want a solution. They don't want this to be resolved. They want to have a war because, what did he say? I don't know. It's just the way he asked the question. I was like, damn. So, and the craziest thing is like publicly disclosing, it's like you have to take a side with everything. I think that's so like, you don't have to take a side, but if you even support anything or say anything bad about the other side, it's like you're anti-Semitic or, you know, you support genocide, or it's like you can't win. It's like as a, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, everyone has good intentions and they're just trying to help. And, you know, that's where everyone's coming from. So it's kind of a gridlock situation, that seems unsolvable. I mean, so yeah, anyways, that is it. I'll just stop there. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for being here today. I really enjoyed this episode. I had fun, honestly. This is a good one. They're always fun, but I feel like this was a fun time. So, yeah, thank you for hanging out, supporting the show. Please hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. I'm on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Breaker, Overcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please hit that subscribe button and review the show 5 stars while you're there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube channel, don't forget to thumbs up the video and comment down below. Comment a Israel or Palestine flag. No, I'm kidding. Support your... No, that's fucked up. Comment cow emoji, because I grew up next to dairy farms. That's a fun fact if you didn't know. Comment a cow emoji. And what else? YouTube. And finally, if you want to support the show, exclusive content is coming back soon. It used to be here, and then I took it away. Now it's back for $5 a month. Patreon.com/TJMS for future bonus content. Right now, it's just my tip jar, but we're going to be doing bonus content over there, exclusive content. So stay tuned for that. That's it. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye. I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.